What we're going to do is construct a filter like this using a stainless steel braided hose and a spigot, which can be plastic spigots, or if you wanted to use brass or stainless steel ball valve on a stainless steel or aluminum pot, the same type of setup will work. So the braided hose doesn't need to be this long. I just didn't cut it down, but you know, it can be as short as a few inches if you want. I've got a 1/2 inch nipple that connects the 1/2 inch pipe threaded braided hose, and then that allows me to adapt up to a 3/4 inch fitting here, which is what the thread size is on my valve in this case. Now if you end up using for instance, a brass ball valve, then the brass ball valve can go straight through your mash tun and can connect, if it's got a male thread like this, can connect directly to this. Otherwise you will need some adapter to go between them. What I'm going to do first to modify this braided hose is I'm going to cut one end off. This particular one looks like it was for a toilet. It's got a fairly big size end on this, which looks like a toilet fitting. But what we want is the fitting, the 1/2 inch fitting that's going to fit on here. So what we're going to do is cut the other end off. And I don't want this to be that long, as long as the other one. We'll cut off about I don't know, 5 or 6 inches. Let's say 6 inches. And you can do this with metal cutting shears or whatever, but if you have a good pair of scissors at home, it'll work just as well. And just cut it, work it a little bit, and it will cut through here, even though it doesn't want to. And you did it. So now you have a reasonably long piece of braided hose. Now at this point what you're going to do is you're going to want to perforate the rubber that is inside this stainless steel hose. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use a pointy thing. It can be anything that's sharp. This is actually kind of large for this job, but any, a small nail or anything that'll go through the weave of the metal. You don't want to go straight through the metal. You want to kind of work your way through one of the little niches in the metal part, and then push it until it perforates the rubber on the inside, and you can see it made a hole there. And then you want to continue doing that and working your way around. So you might have to separate some of the weave as you go along to try to get your pokey thing in there. Do it again, and you can push these guys back into place, keeping the weave, some integrity to the weave. You really don't want to destroy the metal part. And you just keep poking until you perforate the inner hose all the way around this. Now that we've got this thing perforated all the way around, and it might take 5 or 10 minutes, you want to be pretty thorough because this rubber is tough in here and it takes a lot of effort to actually break it by pulling on it. But that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this rubber end and kind of push the stainless steel weave back a little bit so you can grab it with your pliers or whatever you're going to use, and hold on to this end, really the end with the fitting, really tightly, and this part will stretch to the point of actually tearing where the perforations are. So I'm going to do is like this, and hopefully I won't knock the camera over. Get a better grip on it. And you can hear it tear. And it wants to cinch up on there, so you want to pull back on the metal part so that the rubber slides out. And now you have a nice braided hose. Now, the ends of this are pretty sharp. What I like to do is just carefully pull them flat and then bend them in without stabbing myself with them. You can just basically work your way around until you have most of these things tucked inside here. And once you have done that, then you can crimp it. Simply take your pliers and flatten this thing out, and maybe fold it over a little if you want to get this thing closed off on the end so you don't get any mesh material going through the end, just like that. Okay, now we have your braided hose, which can then be attached to your 1/2-inch nipple. And you can do this in brass or stainless steel, whatever you want. Since I'm in Mexico, I just use what I can get. You can throw the adapter on here, and what we'll do is, if you can imagine this going through the bucket, this rubber gasket is going to be on the outside of the bucket, not the inside. That's what seals this in place. The valve will go through the bucket, and in this case the valve is long enough where I can put this nut on there, and this will seal it against the bucket. And then it's long enough where this can then screw onto it. Now, a lot of these plastic valves, they're not long enough to do that, so instead just leave this nut off and screw the adapter directly to the valve and use the adapter to cinch the valve up. And there you have it.